Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the third day of Arab MTech and Startups Conference. Hope you're enjoying our sessions. It's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Erik Marks to talk about the Metamask, the gateway to the centralized web. Mr. Marks, over to you. I think you're muted. Yes, okay.
Okay, thank you, Linda. Yes, so as Linda mentioned, hello, my name is Erik Marks. I'm an engineer at Metamask, the most popular cryptocurrency wallet in the Ethereum ecosystem. And since I understand that there are varying levels of familiarity with blockchain and cryptocurrencies in the audience, I thought I'd briefly introduce the relevant aspects of blockchains and cryptocurrencies before talking about MetaMask's role in the Ethereum ecosystem today and our plans for the future. And following my presentation, which should be pretty brief, I want to leave plenty of time for Q&A, so please feel free to ask questions in the chat as we go along, and we'll try to answer them once the presentation is finished. And now, okay, and
Mr. Marks, I think we lost you.
am I back? Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay, yeah, sorry, I think my internet gave out there for a second. Thank you. I will reshare my screen. Okay, and we're back. So I'm not completely sure where I got cut off, but I was going to introduce Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is a system or protocol running on top of the internet that's maintained by its users. And the purpose of Bitcoin is to maintain the Bitcoin cryptocurrency, which is really the first permissionless digital asset of its kind. And when I say that Bitcoin is permissionless, I mean that anyone can participate in the Bitcoin protocol at any time, and nobody can be prevented from participating by anyone else, provided that they have internet access and a computer. And so all transactions that occur on Bitcoin are enforced by the protocol itself. And I think it's helpful to think of Bitcoin as a self-maintaining financial ledger that anyone can add an account to at any time. And so Ethereum built on a lot of the ideas originally implemented by Bitcoin. And like Bitcoin, it is also a permissionless blockchain with a what we call a native cryptocurrency on Ethereum called Ether. But unlike Bitcoin, Ethereum doesn't simply do a permissionless digital finance, but rather permissionless general computation. And if you can perform general computation, you can also perform financial operations. And therefore, Ethereum can do everything that Bitcoin does and more. So one way we can put that is, if Bitcoin is a permissionless financial ledger running on the internet, then Ethereum is a permissionless computer running on the internet. But more than a computer, Ethereum is an application platform. And as with any application platforms, many things are built on Ethereum. And we have, as I said, the native cryptocurrency Ether, and then innumerable other cryptocurrencies that are built on top of the network. And some of these
Mr. Marks, we see the presentation, but okay, we lost you again.
Is my screen visible again?
Yes.
Okay.
Are you Chrome?
Yes, I am using Chrome. I switched to, normally I do not have connection problems like this, but I switched to, I'll try to keep my camera off, and I switched to low bandwidth mode, and we'll see if that helps. Okay. And so I believe I got cut off talking about the various cryptocurrencies that are built on top of Ethereum in addition to Ether, the native cryptocurrency. And some of these cryptocurrencies, like DAI, are backed by Ether, and their price is maintained algorithmically. Some of them are backed by physical assets, for example, dollar reserves. And then on top of these different assets on Ethereum, derivatives and other financial instruments have been built that people then use to build further financial instruments. And this is what we in the ecosystem call decentralized finance, or DeFi, and that's currently one of the most popular use cases for the Ethereum blockchain. Now, on top of all of that, we have non-financial use cases like governance platforms, so-called decentralized autonomous organizations, or DAOs, digital collectibles, digital art, shares of physical real estate, and much more. So with all of these things, there's a question of how do you, as the end user, interact with all of these different applications and tokens and digital assets, and how do you transact with the Ethereum blockchain? And that is where Metamask comes in. And so, as I said, Metamask is the most popular cryptocurrency wallet in the Ethereum ecosystem. And sort of to go over the most salient parts of Metamask, we provide a secure and easy to use Ethereum wallet. But unlike traditional crypto wallets, Metamask is also an application platform that enables users to interact with these different Ethereum applications via their websites. And so we have both a browser extension and a mobile app, and both of these enable normal web browsers to communicate with these Ethereum websites and the Ethereum blockchain. And we also integrate with hardware wallets for those of our users that require that added security. And at MetaMask, we do think very carefully about security, user experience, and design. And when you onboard onto MetaMask, we do not control any of your data or assets, and don't have any access to and have no access to your accounts, and have no way of preventing you from accessing them. And this is because an account in Ethereum, as with most blockchains, is you generate a key using MetaMask that is tied to an Ethereum address, and MetaMask manages those keys for you on your device without ever sending them to us in any form. And when we talk about the user experience and design, one thing we spend a lot of time thinking about is, when you have so many different novel digital assets and applications being built, we spend a lot of time ensuring that our user interface is clear and intelligible to the user, so that the user understands what they're doing and what the particularly the financial and security implications are when they interact with an Ethereum application. We also spend a lot of time trying to ensure that users do not share more than they need to with different websites, because one way you can think about Ethereum, and indeed blockchains as a whole, is a reaction to what we call to Web 2.0 with companies like Facebook, Google, and Amazon, where they control all of your data and have access to all of your private information. And we always try to put as much power as possible in the hands of our users whenever they interact with websites. In light of that, we, some months ago, introduced our new permission system, which allows users to, which is how we allow users to decide what different websites are able to do in terms of interacting with the user's wallet. Even more recently than that, we also introduced our first revenue-generating feature inside MetaMask, which is Metamask Swaps, which aggregates for users that want to trade different cryptocurrencies. There are a variety of places they can go on Ethereum in order to do that, and we aggregate a number of those sources in a single place in our user interface, and find the best price for the particular trade that the user is attempting to do from all of these different sources at the cost of a service fee. And now, so in essence, as this application platform, there are really more use cases supported by MetaMask today than even we know of, and that is one of the great strengths of the Ethereum ecosystem, and one of the great strengths of MetaMask. But that is also one of our greatest challenges that we deal with on a day-to-day basis, because there is no way, even in the Ethereum ecosystem, to keep up with all of the different novel financial instruments and digital assets that people, and other use cases that we haven't even thought of, that people in the ecosystem are building, to say nothing of blockchains other than Ethereum, many of which have launched over the past year and are starting to, and their ecosystems are starting to grow as well. And our solution to that problem is also the next evolution of MetaMask as a platform, which we call MetaMask Snaps, which is our plugin system first introduced at DevCon 5 last year. This is the goal with Snaps is basically to create a version of MetaMask where the community can build extensions of MetaMask that the user can add while the application is running, and securely extend the functionality of MetaMask without involving us or any other kind of authority beyond what the user needs to do in order to understand if a particular plugin is trustworthy or does what they want it to do. And so, to give a couple of examples of what we're trying to do with that, first of all, in the Ethereum ecosystem, it will allow us to integrate with all of these different scaling solutions that are coming online. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with what that means, one of the big problems with Ethereum at the moment is that the network can get very congested when there is a lot of activity going on, which raises transaction fees to the point where it's very hard to actually use the network for certain use cases. And so there are a lot of protocols building on top of Ethereum coming online, such as Starkware, Optimism, and Fuel Labs, that are trying to effectively increase the transaction throughput across Ethereum by integrating with the Ethereum blockchain and building a protocol on top of it. Then, of course, that's only sort of the first step, because in addition to that, there are all of these other blockchains that I mentioned, including Bitcoin, Filecoin, Cosmos, and an upcoming project by Agoric, which is a company that we work closely with on a engineering and technology level. And with the plugin system, the goal is that we, as in Metamask and Consensus, our parent organization, do not have to be maintain or develop these integrations ourselves, but that we can provide APIs such that the community can do it without involving us, and certainly without asking for our permission. And this slide basically goes into, or summarizes what I just said, which is just that these plugins will allow MetaMask to be extended at runtime without our permission in order to support new use cases. And it leverages everything we've learned about usability and user experience in the blockchain space over the past 4+ years, and including our permission system that I mentioned previously. With that, that is the end of my presentation. I apologize for the technical issues, and I will now take the risk of putting my camera back on, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Erik. There are 2 questions from Iman.
Right, I see. And so the first question, hi Iman. Iman was at the presentation I mentioned at DevCon 5, which is where we first met. And the first question is, for swapping, can users add any tokens or customize them? So I take that to mean, is the list of tokens sort of predefined, or can users choose arbitrarily which tokens to swap? And so the list is predefined, and it's mostly based on which tokens are available from the different, or to swap in the different so-called liquidity providers that we interact with. So we don't have any. We don't have any token reserves of any token ourselves, and so we're basically restricted to whatever tokens are on offer from our liquidity providers in terms of what can be swapped inside MetaMask. But I believe that that list is frequently updated, and I believe it includes. That's not my personal area of expertise, but it includes certainly the top however many dozens tokens in Ethereum. And I see, do we only support Uniswap? So I mean, we certainly support Uniswap in the sense that you can always still, even with the swaps feature, you can just go to Uniswap's website directly and do your swap there, and we will never charge a fee for doing that. But Uniswap is one of the liquidity providers that we do integrate with. But there are several others as well. So it's not just Uniswap, it's a bunch of others. And then I see there's another question as well, if there are any plans for MetaMask as an SDK, and not a plugin to avoid the challenge of forcing the user to install plugins. And so creating an SDK is definitely something that we've talked about internally, and is something that we want to do. We're just uncertain at the moment of when we'll be able to do it for reasons previously mentioned. Basically that we just don't have infinite time and resources, which is basically what we would need to keep up with everything that's happening in blockchain at this time. And yes, I see. So there's another question. Oftentimes I have lost some bucks during staking through MetaMask. How to avoid this? And so I'm not completely sure what the asker means by staking, because there are, I'm assuming there, because I know of some DeFi protocols that have a staking feature, and without knowing exactly what it is, it's hard for me to answer that question or offer specific advice, but I'd be happy to connect. My email is on the slide, and yeah, I'd be happy to explore that question further afterwards. Aha! And so we have another question, which is near and dear to my heart, which is when the user moves from, when the asker moves from a test net to a mainnet, the browser gets refreshed. And is this something that might be fixed in the future? So, and for those of you who are not familiar with that, MetaMask, in MetaMask, you can select different Ethereum networks to connect to. And you basically have the main Ethereum network where all of the sort of assets with real value exist, and then you have a number of test networks as well. And this browser refreshing behavior for the developers in the room only occurs if you use the window.web3 object that MetaMask injects into the DOM. And so that will stop to be a problem very soon, because we are going to remove window.web3 completely. We are actually in the period right now where we announced that we were going to do this like a year ago, and we are going to remove it in an upcoming release very soon. And then that behavior will go away. If there is, if you have more questions about that, you can go to docs.metamask.io, and there you will see, there you'll be able to find resources about how to deal with the removal of window.web3. The other API that we expose is window.ethereum, and that isn't going anywhere. Ooh, what is, cool, you're very welcome. Now, Iman has another question, which is, what is your advice for developers who want to start in this domain? And that is an interesting question. And so it's always hard to give advice without knowing the recipient's particular circumstances. But the way that I got started was basically by joining. I was in school at the time, getting my master's program, and there was a blockchain club at my school, and I joined that blockchain club, and through that started going to events and learning more, and like joining study and reading groups. And so if you're not in school, there are a ton of different communities that you can participate in online and learn more about how to develop Ethereum applications or dApps. There are a lot of there's a lot of free material that you can access for learning. If you have the means, there are a lot of programs that you can pay to participate in. And if anyone has any more specific questions about how to do that, I'd be more than happy to respond to questions of that sort via email. And I think that is all questions for now, but there's one more. Are there any upcoming MetaMask opportunities to share with us? I think if we are talking about hiring opportunities, I believe we will have job openings in the near future, and those will be advertised on the Consensus website. So that will be consensus.net, and they have a there's a job board there that you can find, and we will be advertising positions there in the near future. In terms of hackathons, grants, and so forth, we are not. This has been, of course, I think it's. I've been talking for 30 minutes, so it's about time I've said that it's been a really weird year. And so we have been not as involved in hackathons and so forth as we would be normally. I mean, we probably would have been at DevCon. Yeah, we would have already been at DevCon, and a bunch of stuff would have happened. But yeah, I haven't been involved at a hackathon since ETH Denver in February or March. So nothing. We don't have anything of that sort. I know that Consensus Academy does stuff. I know that there's stuff on Gitcoin. They're doing stuff. So in terms of specific opportunities like that, I don't have much to offer at the moment. I can talk a little bit about an upcoming feature for MetaMask, which is, I mentioned in one of my slides that, or I mentioned it in response to a question, that there are different networks available in MetaMask. And we are about to create or ship an API that allows websites to request networks to be added to MetaMask. And so that's been an ongoing sort of feature request is, add this Ethereum network or add this scaling solution, to MetaMask. And we will be shipping a feature in the near future that allows websites to request that. I'm going to see if I can pull up a little bit about that. Oh yes, there is a pull request. So to sort of get an idea of what that will look like, basically this feature is that because so when we talk about Ethereum scaling solutions and increasing the transaction throughput of the Ethereum network, there are what we call layer 2 scaling solutions. And some of these layer 2 scaling solutions, let me back up a bit. The way that they work is basically that they create these anchor points on the main Ethereum blockchain. So they have a smart contract, which is what we call an application on Ethereum that lives on chain, that the maintainers of the layer 2 network interact with. And they will batch a bunch of transactions off chain on their own network. And then they will send all of those transactions at once to the base chain and avoid paying transaction fees for all of those transactions. That's basically that's the basic idea for most layer 2 scaling solutions. Now, some of these layer 2 scaling solutions are compatible with they have the same interface as the base Ethereum network. And we say that they're EVM compatible. And what that means is you can add a network like that to MetaMask already today without basically almost without changing anything in our code base. And so one example of this is XDAI. XDAI is a sort of long-running layer 2 scaling solution where they have a bunch of trusted validators. And so you can basically add the XDAI API endpoint to MetaMask, and then do transactions on XDAI chain, and then you can move assets via their services between XDAI chain and Ethereum mainnet. And so that's, for example, we've resisted adding networks to MetaMask when people ask us, because we don't want to be in a position where we're choosing who gets to be in MetaMask, because we'd rather just have it be an open API. And so what this method will allow dApps to do is, like, say you have a dApp, an Ethereum application that uses XDAI, they can just ask the user that has MetaMask, hey, can I add XDAI network to your MetaMask, and do you want to use XDAI chain? And that is a feature that we're very excited about, and that we will ship soon. There are, in addition to XDAI, today there are basically two main flavors of layer 2 networks that people are excited about. They're called optimistic rollups and ZK rollups. They're different, and we don't need to go in deep into how they differ, but generally the optimistic rollups are EVM compatible. So you can add them if they have like a public RPC endpoint, or what I previously called an API endpoint, then you can add those networks to MetaMask today, and they will basically work out of the box. So that's not part of our plugin system. These won't be plugins, because all of the code we've already written basically work with these networks already. But it is sort of informed by the same idea of permissionless innovation and letting users be in control of what their MetaMask can do at runtime. Cool. So I think that does it for all the questions in the chat. And with that, it is 11:40 p.m. in Los Angeles, and that is a fine time for me to sign off. So I thank you, everyone, so much for your time, and thanks for having me.
Thank you very much, Erik.
Yeah, thank you, Linda. Bye.